So, in a previous video, I talked about my love of Animal Crossing and my thoughts on the series, and when making that video, I was saying to myself about what I would like to see in a new Animal Crossing title. This isn't a Nintendo should or needs to do this kind of video, it's just something that I would like to see in a new game. So I thought it would be fun to just talk about what I would do or how I would make my perfect Animal Crossing game. But in that previous video, I mentioned that I would love to see a classic title where I didn't have the power to change the town's layout to whatever I want it to be, and how I shouldn't be a major influence for if a villager wants to stay in town or not. To go back to a style similar to the GameCube or DS titles, but for this video, instead of just talking about releasing a classic style title and calling it a day, I want this to be more about how if we are able to have a new title in the series that takes elements of those classic titles and why I like them, while also still adding new features to be a unique entry that can still stand on its own rather than just being similar to those older games and rehashing a similar formula for the sake of making profit off of nostalgia. Now, if Nintendo were to just release a title today that's basically old Animal Crossing with nothing more, then I would probably still buy it because I'm a fan. But my ideas here that I want to discuss is if we can see a title that can still feel brand new while holding on to what made older titles so lovable and something that can still be innovative. And again, this is just my opinion, so feel free to disagree, and this isn't something that Nintendo needs to do, like I said, this is just something that I want to see. Now, when I played New Horizons and also New Leaf to an extent, the power to build whatever changed the way I played Animal Crossing. And that power to build is not a bad thing whatsoever. As much as I love the pure forest setting of the old games, having these additions such as new fountains, placing objects, or building new bridges makes towns feel less barren and more lively. But to me, it also changed how I played this franchise and is why it caused several issues for me when playing New Horizons. I just wanted to build and decorate more than living alongside my villagers. And speaking of the villagers, there would be some things I would like to change as well for them, as part of me felt the villagers were sidelined over decorating and designing. So I want to go over with everyone on what I want to see in Animal Crossing that takes elements that makes the old titles immersive, but also elements of newer titles, and what we can do so that building and decorating doesn't overshadow other important stable elements that are core to the series. To begin, let's start on the player character itself. You as the player character in older Animal Crossing titles was you being a new resident in town and simply living within it. But when New Leaf came around, we became the mayor, giving us more power to how we want the town to look like. Having full control to what goes where, giving ordinances to change how the town operates, and more. We were still limited on how we added infrastructure or public works to the town, but being the mayor gave us more opportunities to shape that town. And New Horizons outright makes the player a god by being able to move and terraform almost everything on your island. But in my version of a new Animal Crossing, I would love to have the player character go back to being a normal resident and returning to a simpler life in-game, but not outright making it bare bones. Because I get it, living in just pure forest can get boring over time. I would like to see a title where we can still add new public works to the town like in New Leaf, but we don't have an overall say on the projects because we are just a resident. What I think would be cool is to have more villagers being an influential factor to what gets built. What if you and the villagers had a vote at the town hall on what should get made and where it should be located? This to me allows villagers to be more active in living in the town. Maybe a villager can either like or dislike a proposed public works project based on their personality type. Or maybe a villager can report an issue that this new project interferes with where their house is located, and that project cannot move forward until that villager is compensated in some way. Same goes for ordinances, like selling items gives you more bells, but buying items also costing more can be a potential issue for some of the residents. I feel that this gives the game a more dynamic approach to how the town operates and makes every decision feel fresh and impactful, as your vote might not always get through. And if your vote fails, we can add an appeal to the town hall to revive the project or interact with the villagers who voted against you to debate why this project matters to you and the rest of the town. I think this can allow players to still get what they want and be attainable, but giving that feeling that you have to earn it while not being too harsh, rather than you just being able to decide on everything. And this makes villagers feel more like a resident than just someone you picked to live in your town and deciding all of their choices for them. And let's touch more upon villagers in my approach to a new Animal Crossing. Just like I said, I think we should allow villagers to be more active in town affairs, but as individual residents, they should do more in relation to their personality types. Now, villagers already have various hobbies and subtle differences between one another, but I want to see a bit more out of them. I want them to have various emotions and interactions with the player character and other residents. I don't always want them to be nice to you, or maybe they'll never get along with certain residents based off certain personality types or certain villagers. I think this gives us more of a reason to understand where these villagers are coming from and personal issues they might have that you can either do something or nothing about it. I know previous titles have friendship levels that can increase or decrease, but it would be interesting to see more variety for villagers adjusting to how you act and behave in town. For example, you can be a good friend to a villager, but if, let's say, you vote against a resident on an ordinance or public works project, they can turn against you for not being on their side, and you'll have to rebuild that friendship. Also, I think villager friendships should adjust based on your in-town activities. Let's say you tend to fish a lot, that a villager who also likes fishing as a hobby will interact with you more than one who doesn't. To add on to that, maybe that villager will invite you to go fishing together. Another example would be if you were to cut down a lot of trees or ruin all of the flowers, and villagers will report you for your actions to the town hall and potentially having consequences to how the town sees you. That can also be a factor to if a villager wants to move away from the town. With this idea, it gives players a feeling that not everyone will like you for what you do, but maybe other villagers will. I want this Animal Crossing to give the idea that your town is not perfect and that there will be flaws, but how you interact with villagers can change how they see you. Also, I want special characters to engage and be active in the town more often. I would love to see Tom Nook, Isabelle, or KK Slider roam around the town at certain points of the day instead of having them locked in their jobs or behind desks. Although there are some characters like Flick or CJ will show up on occasion so you can sell them bugs or fish, but it would be cool to do more things with them like catching bugs with Flick. Or we can hang out with the Able sisters and maybe do some activity like making clothes with them. Or how about assisting Tom Nook on some sort of debt collecting mission? Yeah, I really like that one. It's like having their character episodes like in the past, but adding more to it and having them do more stuff outside of their positions. What makes Animal Crossing fun for me is engaging with everyone who's in town, and that goes for both the residents and special characters. Let's also go back to how the town looks itself. I talked about how the town should go back to a simpler time where we didn't change everything, but also still being able to add new infrastructure and decorate some things is still fine and doable. And I think we should still have the ability to place your items throughout the town, but again, I think your items that you place should also impact the villagers. What I mean by that is, depending on where in your town you place your items, the villagers will have an opinion on its placement. Like, it could be a feng shui kind of thing, like how it works inside your home. But in this case, I think it should have an effect on where the villager lives and their personality type. Like, animals with the jock personality will like it if you place more gym or sporty themed items near their home. But what about the topic of terraforming? For me personally, I wouldn't mind removing terraforming from the game, as it will just distract me like it did in New Horizons. And I understand that many people will dislike it if that feature was to go away. But if we were to add terraforming in some way, I would suggest making it more limiting. However, to be honest, I'm not sure how I would implement it in a way that wouldn't distract me from just living in the town. In my Animal Crossing, I just don't want that to impact how I live in the town. The reason why I don't really mind public works projects or items that can be pocketed still being okay is because there will be factors to consider when placing those items. As for public works projects, instead of having the ability to just place that infrastructure in your pocket, you would have to request to get it removed and again, have the town vote on it. It would be closer to how New Leaf approaches handling big objects in the town compared to New Horizons, where just about everything can be added to your pockets. I'm just going to go on a brief tangent, but if terraforming is to come back in a new title made by Nintendo, then I would suggest making terraforming easier by opening your map and drawing out the layout and moving any houses or buildings if necessary, all in one go, and paying any bells for relocation of those buildings. And for any items or plants placed in town that are also affected, will just get moved to storage so you don't have to pick up every single item, plant, tree, etc. And then the player can just add them back later after terraforming is completed. I think this will cut off a lot of time spent on terraforming so that you can just continue to live in your town. However, that's if terraforming were to continue and if I want to terraform my town. That's what I'd want. But in my Animal Crossing game that I'd like to see, I would just remove terraforming and just work with the land I'm given from the start. Even if what I just suggested saves time when you terraform, I'd rather just not deal with it. Alright, so this next part is just miscellaneous things I would like to be added in an Animal Crossing game. First and foremost, I want to make tools unbreakable again, because that is the most annoying part of New Horizons. And every time my tools broke, I had to buy new ones, and I wouldn't bother crafting them, and it was all just repetitive. Plus, let's add more shops back into the town itself. We have the obvious places like the Able Sisters, Nook's Cranny, and the Town Hall, but let's also make room for Leaf's Shop or Kick's Shoe Store. And let's bring back the post office. In New Leaf, these stores were all placed on Main Street, but it would be nice to see them more spread out. So that's what I would like to see in an Animal Crossing title. For me, I think this approach to the series will allow me and other players to go back to a simpler style of Animal Crossing, while still being fresh and new and even more engaging to play. It's a title where you're placed into your town that you can't terraform, but you still have options to add things to that town to still make it feel personalized. However, you are just a resident. You still have limitations on what you can do, and you will still have to interact with residents on certain projects. Plus, residents have more power, influence, and personality to how they live their lives. I do understand that the title I want to see is more limiting for the player, and not everyone will like that proposal. But I think putting more focus on how the villagers live and interact creates a fun new dynamic, making every play session not repetitive. In the end, that's the Animal Crossing game I would want to play. But how about you? What kind of Animal Crossing game would you like to see? Would you prefer it to be more like the older titles or the newer titles? Also, what do you think about the ideas that I proposed in this video? Do you agree or disagree with this kind of game, and would you play it? Is there something that you would also like to incorporate or take out of that proposal? I would like to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and I'm interested in reading what you have to say on this topic. Again, I enjoy all the titles I've played. I just want to have a new title that harkens back to the olden days of playing, but still adding features for it so that it doesn't necessarily feel like an exact copy of the older titles. But that feeling of just being a resident that lives in the town is what I want to play. I don't want to build and change the land. I just want to chill with my villagers and do activities in the town. But feel free to disagree, like I said. It's just something that I want in my game and how I would make it, but maybe you have something else. Maybe you have a different idea of what your perfect Animal Crossing will be. And I'm all ears on what everyone's thoughts are. I think what it boils down to for me is that if it's cozy feeling, then I'm pretty much gonna play it regardless. We'll never know when Nintendo will release the next Animal Crossing title, but for now, at least we have the new 3.0 update to look forward to, and I'll definitely be checking that out when that arrives. Besides Animal Crossing, I do have other videos in mind that I want to make, so please look forward to those as well. That's all from me, and I hope you liked listening to this what if kind of video, and subscribe and like if you haven't yet. But until next time, hope you all well, and stay calm and stay chill everyone. See ya.